I speak to you tonight about a principle so profound, yet so simple, that many of you may dismiss it at first. But I tell you with absolute conviction, the most important focus of your life must be yourself. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity, your divine nature, your I am. When I say focus on yourself, I am not speaking of the outer self that you present to the world. I speak of that deeper self, that infinite being within you, that is God. For you must understand this fundamental truth. Your consciousness, your I amness is God. This is not blasphemy. This is the deepest truth of Scripture, hidden in plain sight for those with eyes to see. Consider the words, be still, and know that I am God. These words are not speaking of a distant deity in some far-off heaven. They speak of your own wonderful human imagination, your own consciousness. When you truly focus on yourself, you are focusing on God. For you and the Father are one. Many of you come to me asking about manifestation, about creating your desires in the external world. But I tell you now, all manifestation begins with self-focus, with the recognition of who you really are. For how can you manifest anything if you do not first understand that you are the operant power? You are the God of your universe. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. When you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. All things come from within. There is no other source. The world you see now is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is yourself pushed out. Do you understand the magnitude of this truth? Everything you see, everything you experience is yourself made visible. Therefore, to change anything in your world, you must first change yourself. Not the outer self, but your conception of yourself, your inner knowing. When I speak of focusing on yourself, I am speaking of assuming the state of consciousness of the person you wish to be. This is not about changing your actions first. Actions follow consciousness. First, you must focus on being the person who would naturally have, do, or be what you desire. Let me give you the perfect example from Scripture. When David faced Goliath, he didn't focus on the giant before him. He focused on himself as the victor. He dwelt in the consciousness of victory before a single stone was thrown. This is the secret that most of the world has missed. David focused on himself as the winner, not on the problem before him. You see, most people have it backwards. They focus on what they want to change in their external world. They focus on their problems, their limitations, their current circumstances. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself and the reflection will change automatically. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the state you wish to occupy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. But, and this is crucial, you must do this from the inside out. Consider this. Every night before you sleep, where does your focus go? Most of you focus on the events of the day, the problems you face, the things you lack. But I tell you, this is the exact opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel yourself to be the person who has what you desire. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we focus on others? Let me be very clear, there are no others. What you see as others are aspects of yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you truly focus on yourself, your highest self, your divine self, you are focusing on all of humanity. For we are all one consciousness, individualized into seemingly separate beings. The great secret that the mystics and prophets have tried to share throughout the ages is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, springs from your consciousness. Therefore, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is the most profound act of creation you can engage in. Let me share with you a technique I have often used and taught. When you go into the silence of your own being, focus on yourself as having already achieved your desire. Do not think of how it will happen. Do not think of the process. Think only of the end, of the person you would be when your desire is fulfilled. If you wish to be wealthy, do not focus on making money. Focus on yourself as someone who is already wealthy. Feel the naturalness of wealth. Feel how you would feel if wealth were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with wealth. This is focusing on yourself in the proper way. If you seek love, do not focus on finding someone to love you. Focus on yourself as someone who is deeply loved and cherished. Feel how you would feel if perfect love were your natural state. Feel the warmth, the security, the joy of being completely loved. This is focusing on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. Some of you might be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, action will come, but it will come naturally and effortlessly when you have properly focused on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. The actions will flow from your new state of consciousness, not from your current state of lack. Remember the story of Moses parting the Red Sea. He didn't focus on the impossibility before him. He didn't focus on the problem. He focused on himself as one who had the power to lead his people to safety. His focus on himself as the deliverer created the miracle. The sea parted not because of what he did, but because of who he knew himself to be. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. It is not about ego. It is not about selfishness. It is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. It is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Everything you see, everything you experience is beauty. When you walk through your day, remember this truth. The world you see is yourself pushed out. Every person you meet is yourself pushed out. Every circumstance you encounter is yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change anything, focus on yourself, not the outer self, but the inner self, the consciousness from which all things spring. I want you to grasp this principle so deeply that it becomes the foundation of your entire life. Your consciousness is the only reality. Your I amness is God. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the creative power of the universe. Do not make the mistake of thinking that focusing on yourself means becoming self-centered in the egotistical sense. This is not about the personality, the outer self. This is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. This is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on yourself as limited, as lacking, as unable, that becomes your reality. But if you focus on yourself as the embodiment of success, of abundance, of love, that becomes your reality. The choice is yours. And you make this choice through your focus. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. While in prison, he didn't focus on his circumstances. He focused on himself as the interpreter of dreams, as one who had a divine gift. His focus on himself in this elevated state led him from the prison to the palace. This is the power of proper self-focus. Many of you spend your days focusing on what's wrong in your life, what's missing, what needs to be fixed. But I tell you now, this is the opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself as the person who has what you desire. Feel yourself to be that person. Live from that state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the cause, not the effect. You are focusing on the root, not the fruit. You are focusing on the creator, not the creation. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Feel how that person would feel. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. This is not imagination in the fantasy sense. This is using your imagination as the creative power it truly is. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your circumstances, your relationships, your possessions, these are all effects. They are all yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change any effect, you must change the cause, and the cause is always your consciousness, your concept of yourself. Let me be very clear about this. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. If you want health, focus on yourself as healthy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. But do this from the inside out, not the outside in. Many of you try to change things from the outside in. You try to change your circumstances first, hoping that this will change how you feel about yourself. But this is backwards. You must change yourself first, your concept of yourself, your inner knowing, and then the outer world will conform to this new self-concept. Think of it this way. Everything you see in your world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, if you don't like what you see, don't try to change the outer picture. Change yourself, your concept of yourself, and the outer picture must change to match your new self-concept. This is why focusing on yourself is so crucial. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Live from that state. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you occupy is the state that manifests. If you occupy the state of lack, lack manifests. If you occupy the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you occupy the state of love, love manifests. This is law. Therefore, when you focus on yourself in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is impossible. The outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Think of yourself as a radio broadcasting station. Whatever frequency you broadcast, whatever state you occupy, that is what manifests in your world. Therefore, to change your world, change your broadcast. Change your concept of yourself. When you go into meditation or prayer, do not focus on what you want to change in your outer world. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. Remember, the feeling is the secret. Not the intellectual understanding, not the affirmations, not the visualizations, although these can be helpful tools. The feeling of being the person who already has what you desire is the key. Let me give you a practical application of this principle. If you want more money in your life, do not focus on getting money. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally has money. Feel how you would feel if money were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with having money. If you want better relationships, do not focus on finding the right person or fixing your current relationships. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally experiences wonderful relationships. Feel how you would feel if perfect relationships were your natural state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, whatever you focus on in yourself becomes your reality. If you focus on lack, lack manifests. If you focus on abundance, abundance manifests. If you focus on love, love manifests. This is law. Many of you spend your time trying to manipulate the outer world, trying to make things happen, trying to control circumstances and people. But I tell you now, this is unnecessary. Focus on yourself, your concept of yourself, and the outer world must conform to this self-concept. Remember, there is only one cause in all creation, and that cause is consciousness. Your consciousness, your I am-ness. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you accept as real is the state that manifests. If you accept yourself as limited, limitation manifests. If you accept yourself as abundant, abundance manifests. If you accept yourself as love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on accepting the state you wish to manifest. Accept it as real. Accept it as natural. Accept it as your true state. This acceptance is crucial. Many of you struggle with accepting the state you desire because your senses tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your senses only show you what has been manifested from past states of consciousness. They cannot show you what is possible. I think of it this way, your senses can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your senses dictate your concept of yourself. Choose the concept you wish to embody and focus on that. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Accept this as your true state. Let this acceptance saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your concept of yourself, this is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself, and the reflection will change automatically. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you persist in is the state that manifests. If you persist in the state of lack, lack manifests. If you persist in the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you persist in the state of love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, persist in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, persist in seeing yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling become so familiar that it becomes your dominant state. Remember, persistence is crucial. You cannot occupy a state for a moment and expect it to manifest. You must persist in the state until it becomes your natural state, your dominant state. Many of you give up too soon. You occupy a state for a day or two, see no results, and return to your old state. But I tell you now, persistence is key. Persist in the state you wish to manifest, regardless of appearances. Think of it this way: when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the law of growth. In the same way, when you plant a new concept of yourself, trust the law of manifestation. Persist in the state, regardless of appearances. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you believe in is the state that manifests. If you believe in limitation, limitation manifests. If you believe in abundance, abundance manifests. If you believe in love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on believing in the state you wish to manifest. Believe in it completely. Believe in it naturally. Believe in it your true state. This belief is crucial. Many of you struggle with believing in the state you desire because your past experiences tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your past experiences only show you what has been manifested from past beliefs. They cannot show you what is possible with new beliefs. Think of it this way. Your past experiences can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your past experiences dictate your beliefs about yourself. Choose the beliefs you wish to embody and focus on those. When you go about your day, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Believe in this version of yourself completely. Accept it as your true state. Let this belief saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your beliefs about yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your beliefs about yourself. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Let me share with you one final principle. The state you live from is the state that manifests. If you live from lack, lack manifests. If you live from abundance, abundance manifests. If you live from love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on living from the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, live from the state of success. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling guide your thoughts, your words, your actions. Remember, living from a state is different from trying to achieve a state. When you live from a state, you are that state now. When you try to achieve a state, you push it into the future. Many of you make the mistake of putting your desired state into the future. You say, I will be successful, I will be wealthy, I will be loved. But I tell you now, this keeps your desire forever.
I want to remind you today that God has a plan for your life. It's not a plan of confusion, fear, or uncertainty. It's a plan of hope, purpose, and divine timing. Sometimes we look at our lives and wonder why things aren't happening the way we expected. We pray, we believe, we do our best, yet it feels like we're stuck in the waiting room of life. But I want you to know that God is never late. He's never behind schedule. His timing is always perfect. You may not see it right now, but every delay, every closed door, and every unexpected turn is leading you closer to the destiny He has prepared for you. The scripture says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." That means before you were even born, God already laid out the blueprint of your life. He knew every challenge you would face, every victory you would celebrate, and every moment where you would have to trust Him completely. But here's the challenge. We often get impatient. We want things to happen on our timeline. We pray and expect instant results. When it doesn't happen, we start questioning. God, did you forget about me? Have you abandoned me? Why are things taking so long? But I want to encourage you today. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. Just because the answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean God has denied your request. Sometimes He's preparing you for what He has prepared for you. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that one day he would be in a position of great influence. But before that dream became reality, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and placed in prison. For years, it looked like nothing was happening. It seemed like God had forgotten about him. But what Joseph didn't realize was that in every setback, God was setting him up for something greater. The very things that looked like obstacles were actually stepping stones leading him to his destiny. Maybe you're in a place right now where you don't understand why things are taking so long. You've been praying for a breakthrough, believing for a promotion, trusting God for a relationship, but nothing seems to be moving. Let me remind you, just because you don't see it doesn't mean God isn't working. He's aligning the right people, opening the right doors, and putting everything in place. He knows when you're ready. He knows when the situation is ready. And when it's time, no force on earth can stop His plan from unfolding. You don't have to try to force things to happen. You don't have to live frustrated, wondering when it's going to work out. God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are beyond what we can imagine. If He is making you wait, it's because the blessing He has in store for you is worth the wait. He's growing your faith. He's developing your character. He's strengthening you so that when you step into what He has promised, you'll be ready to handle it. Think about an eagle. Before it takes flight, it sits in the nest, waiting for the right moment. The mother eagle knows that if the baby eagle tries to fly too soon, it won't have the strength to soar, so she waits. She allows the eagle to grow stronger, to develop its wings, to build endurance, and when the time is right, she pushes the eagle out of the nest and it begins to soar. That's what God is doing in your life. You may feel like you're in a waiting season, but God is strengthening your wings. He's preparing you to soar higher than you ever imagined. Sometimes the delays we face are not denials, they're divine protections. God is keeping you from something that isn't right for you. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and thank Him for not answering certain prayers the way you wanted. You'll see that His plan was far greater than anything you could have imagined. Maybe you've been praying for a certain job and the door keeps closing. Maybe you've been believing for a relationship, but things aren't working out. Instead of getting discouraged, start thanking God. Thank Him that He's in control. Thank Him that He knows what's best. Thank Him that He's directing your steps. When you release control and trust in His timing, you're showing God that you have faith. Abraham and Sarah had to wait years for their promised child. They tried to take matters into their own hands, and it only led to frustration. But when they finally surrendered, when they stopped trying to force it and trusted God's timing, the promise came to pass. If God has put a dream in your heart, if He's given you a vision for your future, don't give up just because it's taking longer than expected. The delay doesn't mean denial. It means God is getting everything in place. When you trust God's timing, you can live in peace. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to wonder if things will work out. You know that at the right time, God will bring the right opportunity, the right people, and the right breakthrough. It may not happen the way you thought, but His way is always better. I want to encourage you today. Keep believing. Keep standing in faith. Keep trusting that God's plan for your life is unfolding in the perfect way, even when you don't see it, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Know that behind the scenes, God is orchestrating something greater than you could ever imagine. The waiting season is never wasted. It's a season of preparation, of growth, and of positioning for what's next. The waiting season is never wasted. It's a season of preparation, of growth, and of positioning for what's next. When you look back at your life, you realize that the moments when you had to wait, when things didn't seem to be moving, were actually the moments when God was working the most. He was shifting things in your favor, putting the right people in place, and aligning your steps with His perfect will. So often we get caught up in what hasn't happened yet. We focus on what we don't have, on the prayers that haven't been answered, on the dreams that seem so far away. But God is saying, trust me. I see the bigger picture. I know the perfect timing. You may not understand it now, but every closed door, every delay, and every unanswered prayer is setting you up for something far greater than you could ever imagine. Maybe right now you're facing a season where it feels like nothing is happening. You're praying, believing, standing in faith, but you don't see any movement. Let me encourage you. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean God isn't working. He's moving behind the scenes, arranging things in your favor, preparing you for the next level. The delay is not a denial. It's a divine setup for something greater. Think about David. He was anointed to be king at a young age, but he didn't step into that position right away. He had to go through years of preparation, facing battles, overcoming obstacles, and proving his faithfulness. He could have gotten discouraged, thinking, God, you said I was going to be king. Why is it taking so long? But David understood that God's timing was perfect. He didn't try to force things to happen. He didn't get bitter. He didn't walk away from God's promises. He stayed faithful in the waiting, and at the right time, God elevated him. Maybe you're in a place right now where you feel like you're being overlooked. Others are getting promoted, getting married, stepping into their calling, and you feel like you're stuck in the background. But let me tell you, just because you're hidden doesn't mean you're forgotten. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't positioning you. There's something powerful about trusting God when you don't understand. When you say, God, I don't know why it's taking so long, but I trust you, I believe your plan is bigger than mine, that's when you position yourself for favor. There's a story in the Bible about the Israelites. God had promised them the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey, but instead of taking them straight there, He led them through the wilderness. What should have been an 11-day journey took 40 years. Why? Because they weren't ready. They had the wrong mindset. They were complaining, doubting, and focusing on what they didn't have. And because they wouldn't trust God's timing, they missed out on what He had for them. Don't let that be your story. Don't let impatience rob you of your destiny. You may not see the full picture now, but God knows what He's doing. If He's making you wait, it's because He's preparing something greater than what you had in mind. You have to come to a place where you trust Him so completely that even when things don't make sense, even when the doors don't open, even when it feels like nothing is changing, you still say, God, I trust you. I know you are working all things together for my good. Think about Noah. God told him to build an ark because a flood was coming. It had never rained before, and people thought he was crazy. But Noah didn't question God. He didn't say, God, are you sure? This doesn't make sense. No, he trusted God's plan even when he didn't understand it. For years, he kept building, kept preparing, kept believing. And when the flood finally came, he and his family were safe because he had obeyed. Maybe right now, God is asking you to build something. Maybe He's telling you to prepare, even though you don't see any signs of what's coming. People may not understand. They may question you, criticize you, laugh at you. But you have to trust that if God told you to do it, He has a reason. Keep building, keep preparing, keep believing. Because when the time is right, God is going to open doors that no one can shut. One of the greatest tests of faith is trusting God when you don't have all the answers. It's easy to trust Him when everything is going smoothly, when the finances are there, when the opportunities are lining up. But real faith is trusting Him when nothing makes sense. When you're waiting, when you're wondering, when you're tempted to doubt. That's when your faith is being strengthened. The enemy wants you to get discouraged in the waiting. He wants you to start questioning God's goodness, to start doubting His promises. But you have to make up your mind that no matter how long it takes, you're not going to lose faith. You're not going to let fear, frustration, or impatience take over. You're going to stand firm, knowing that God is faithful. There are some things in life that only God can do. You can't force the right doors to open. You can't make certain opportunities happen. But you can position yourself by staying faithful, by keeping the right attitude, by refusing to give up. When you do that, you're showing God that you trust Him, and He will reward your faithfulness. I've learned that sometimes God delays things because what He has planned is bigger than what we imagined. If He gave it to us too soon, we wouldn't be able to handle it. The blessing would be too much. So He takes us through a process, through a season of stretching, of growing, of learning to depend on Him. And when the time is right, He brings the breakthrough, and we realize that every moment of waiting was worth it. Think about a farmer. He plants the seeds, waters them, takes care of them, but he doesn't see the harvest right away. He has to trust that beneath the soil something is happening. Even when he doesn't see any signs of growth, he knows that in the right season, the harvest will come. That's how it is with God's timing. You may not see anything happening right now, but beneath the surface, He's growing something in you. He's strengthening your faith. He's preparing you for what's ahead. You have to trust that when it's time, your breakthrough will come. When it's time, the right door will open. When it's time, the promise will be fulfilled. Until then, keep being faithful, keep showing up, keep believing that God's plan is greater than anything you could ever dream of. You may have moments where you feel like giving up, where you wonder if God is really hearing your prayers. But let me remind you, God is not a man that He should lie. If He said it, He will do it. If He promised it, it will come to pass. It may not happen when you want it to, but it will happen at the right time. God is saying, trust me. I've got you in the palm of my hand. I know what I'm doing. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm leading you to something greater. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to have all the answers. Just trust in the one who does. He's working, He's moving, and He's leading you to a place of blessing beyond anything you could ever imagine. You may not realize it, but right now God is arranging things in your favor. He is positioning you for the breakthrough, for the opportunity, for the answered prayer. You may not see anything changing, but that doesn't mean He's not working. What He promised is still on schedule. The people you need to fulfill your destiny are already lined up. The resources, the favor, the open doors, they are on their way. During the day that you are not aware, the night. But here's the key. You have to trust His timing. If you get impatient and try to make things happen in your own strength, you may step outside of His best. Sarah and Abraham made that mistake. God promised them a child, but when years went by and nothing happened, they decided to help God out. Sarah told Abraham to sleep with her maidservant Hagar so they could have a child. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it wasn't God's plan. That decision led to heartache, strife, and division in their family. When God gives you a promise, it's not your job to figure out how it will happen. It's not your job to force it to come to pass. Your job is to trust, to believe, and to stay faithful. God doesn't need your help to fulfill His word. He doesn't need you to manipulate circumstances or try to open doors that He hasn't opened. When it's the right time, He will make it happen, and it will be better than anything you could have arranged. Maybe you've been praying for a breakthrough, believing for a promotion, standing in faith for a dream to come to pass. You've done everything you know to do, but nothing is happening. You're tempted to get discouraged, to start doubting, to question whether it's ever going to work out. But let me remind you, just because it's taking time doesn't mean God has changed His mind. Delay does not mean denial. There's a reason for the wait. Sometimes God is protecting you from something you can't see. Sometimes He's strengthening your character so you'll be ready for what's ahead. Sometimes He's making sure all the pieces are in place so that when the door opens, you will walk into it with confidence. Look at Joseph. God gave him a dream that he would be a leader, that he would rule over nations. But instead of stepping right into that position, Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and later put in prison for something he didn't even do. If anyone had a reason to question God's timing, it was Joseph. He could have thought, God, I had a dream. I know you called me. Why is this happening? But Joseph didn't give up. He didn't let the delays cause him to lose faith. He stayed faithful where he was. He kept honoring God, kept serving with excellence, kept believing. And at the right time, after years of waiting, Joseph was promoted to second in command over all of Egypt. What if Joseph had given up in the prison? What if he had let discouragement talk him out of his destiny? He would have never seen the fulfillment of what God had promised. Some of you are in a waiting season right now. You've been faithful. You've been doing the right thing, but it feels like you're stuck. Nothing is changing. You're wondering, God, when is it going to happen? Let me encourage you. Don't lose faith. Don't give up just because it's taking longer than you expected. The same God who was faithful to Joseph, who turned his situation around overnight, is the same God who is working in your life. At the right time, in a moment, God will shift things. One phone call, one divine connection, one idea, one opportunity, and suddenly everything will change. The years of waiting, the struggles, the disappointments, they will all make sense. You will look back and say, now I understand why it had to happen this way. The enemy will try to convince you that nothing is happening. He'll whisper, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But God's timing is not our timing. A delay is not a defeat. A waiting season is not a wasted season. God is using this time to prepare you, to grow you, to strengthen your faith. He is molding you into the person you need to be for the blessing He has prepared. Sometimes God withholds things from us because He loves us too much to give them to us too soon. Think about a child who wants to drive a car. They may be eager, excited, convinced they are ready. But a loving parent won't hand them the keys until they are mature enough to handle it. It's not that the parent doesn't want them to have the car, it's that they want them to have it at the right time when it won't destroy them. In the same way, God has amazing things in store for you, but He's not going to release them until He knows you're ready. If He gave you the promotion too soon, you might not have the character to handle the pressure. If He gave you the relationship before you were emotionally healed, it might not last. If He gave you the opportunity before you were prepared, it might overwhelm you. God knows what He's doing. He is a God of perfect timing. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know. If He's asking you to wait, it's because He's preparing something better than what you had in mind. The delay is not punishment. It's preparation. It's God's way of getting you ready for what He has in store. While you're waiting, don't get discouraged. Keep your faith strong. Keep praising, keep believing, keep expecting. Speak life over your situation. Declare, God, I know you are faithful. I may not see it yet, but I trust you. I believe my breakthrough is coming. When you keep the right attitude in the waiting, you are setting yourself up for a suddenly moment. God has not forgotten you. He has seen every sacrifice, every tear, every moment of faithfulness. He has heard every prayer, and He is working behind the scenes. The moment He has planned for you is already on the calendar. At the right time, you're going to see His favor, His breakthrough, His increase. You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. You don't have to manipulate things or make it happen in your own strength. Just be still and know that He is God. Trust that He is leading you, guiding you, and working all things together for your good. If you stay in faith, if you keep believing, if you don't let the enemy talk you out of it, then at the right time the promise will come to pass. What God has spoken over your life will happen. The waiting will be worth it. The delay will make sense. and you will step into the fullness of everything He has planned for you. The breakthrough is coming, the doors will open, the healing will manifest, the opportunity will come. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep expecting, because your time is on the way. You might be facing challenges right now. You may be battling sickness, financial difficulties, or feeling stuck in life. But I want to tell you, don't let your circumstances dictate your future. You are not at the mercy of life's ups and downs. You are a child of the Most High God, and He has a plan for you that will not be thwarted by any obstacle or setback. God has a destiny for you, and that destiny is filled with promise, favor, and blessings beyond what you can imagine. But you have to walk by faith, not by sight. You have to trust that even when things look bleak, God is working on your behalf. The scripture says, we walk by faith and not by sight. And the scripture says, Imgon elivona I eshendo. It's easy to walk by faith when everything is going well, when your plans are unfolding perfectly, when your dreams are coming true. But the true test of faith comes when things aren't going according to plan, when life throws unexpected twists your way. That's when you have to trust that God is still in control. That's when you have to remind yourself that His plan is better than your plan, and His timing is better than your timing. You see, faith is not just believing that God can do something. It's believing that He will. It's trusting that He is working in the background even when you can't see the evidence. Faith is believing that your breakthrough is coming even when the road ahead looks uncertain. It's choosing to trust God's plan for your life, even when you don't have all the answers. And God will never leave you in the dark. He promises in His word that He will direct your steps. Proverbs 3:05-06 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. It doesn't say that you'll always understand what's going on. It doesn't say that everything will always be smooth and easy, but it does say that if you trust in Him, He will guide you. He will make your path straight. That means no matter how winding or difficult the road may seem, God will direct you. He will lead you to where you need to be. He will open the right doors and close the wrong ones. You may not see it now, but trust that He is working behind the scenes. Just because you can't see the answer doesn't mean He hasn't already worked it out. There are times in life when you will face things that are beyond your understanding, things that don't make sense, things that challenge your faith. But I want to encourage you today, when you don't understand, you don't have to panic. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to get anxious. All you have to do is trust. Trust that God has a plan. Trust that He is faithful. Trust that He will make everything work together for your good in His perfect timing. I know it's not always easy. I know it's not always comfortable. Sometimes you feel like you've been waiting forever. But let me remind you, God doesn't waste anything. The seasons you're in right now, the challenges, the struggles, they are not wasted. God is using them to prepare you for what's ahead. What you are going through today is part of His plan to shape you into the person you need to be. If you find yourself in a waiting season, don't get discouraged. God is not ignoring you. He is preparing you. You are in His waiting room. And in this waiting room, He is doing something deep inside of you. He is strengthening your faith. He is building your character. He is developing your patience. He is teaching you to trust Him more. And when you come out of this season, you will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared to handle the blessings that are coming your way. You see, the waiting season is not a season of stagnation. It's not a season of wasted time. It's a season of preparation. God is working in you, shaping you, molding you, making you ready for the things He has for you. Don't rush through it. Don't try to skip ahead. Embrace the process. Stay faithful where you are. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep praising. You may not understand it all right now, but trust that God has a purpose in the waiting. He's making sure you're ready for the next level. And when He opens the door, you'll be ready to step into everything He has prepared for you. In the meantime, I encourage you to keep your heart in a place of gratitude. You may not have everything you want yet, but you have everything you need. You may not see the breakthrough yet, but you have God's favor on your life. You may not be where you want to be, but you are closer than you were yesterday. And while you wait, thank Him for what He's doing in you and around you. Gratitude is a powerful thing. It shifts your perspective. It reminds you of how far you've come and how much God has already done in your life. It keeps your heart in a place of faith. It reminds you that God is good, that He is faithful, and that He has not forgotten you. One of the greatest things you can do while you wait is to keep your focus on God's promises. Don't focus on the delay. Don't focus on what's not happening. Focus on what God has already promised you. Remember His word. He says He will provide for you. He says He will heal you. He says He will open doors that no man can shut. He says He will restore what has been lost. Focus on those promises. In Philippians 4:6-7, the Apostle Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This scripture tells us not to be anxious about anything. I know it's easier said than done, but if you can trust God's plan, you can experience peace in the waiting. When you trust that God is working on your behalf, when you trust that He is arranging things in your favor, you can rest, you can relax, you don't have to worry. Let me tell you, God's peace is powerful. It's not the kind of peace the world offers. It's not the kind of peace that comes from having everything figured out or knowing how things are going to turn out. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, God is in control. When you have that kind of peace, you can endure the waiting season. You can keep your joy, you can keep your praise, you can keep your faith. You don't have to let the uncertainty of the future rob you of the peace God has already given you. Remember, God is faithful to His promises. He will fulfill what He has spoken over your life. His plan is bigger than any setback. His timing is perfect. Trust that He is working in your life even when you don't see it. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep praising. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is on the way. The promises God has made will come to pass. And when it does, you will look back and see how God has been working behind the scenes, making all things beautiful in His time. Trust His timing. He is never late. He is always right on time.
The world you see around you is not the cause of your experience, but the effect. It is the outpicturing of your inner states of consciousness. Every circumstance, every person, every experience in your life is a reflection of your own thoughts and beliefs. When you grasp this fundamental truth, you realize that the repayment you seek is not about receiving something from an external source. It is about shifting your consciousness to a state where what you desire already exists. For in truth, nothing is ever lost. It simply exists in a state that you are not currently occupying. Consider for a moment, have you ever misplaced an object in your home only to find it later exactly where it should have been? The object was never lost. It was always there. You simply weren't occupying the state of consciousness where you were aware of its location. The same principle applies to everything you believe you have lost in life. Now you might be wondering, but Neville, how can I shift my consciousness to a state where I have what I thought was lost? This is an excellent question, and it brings us to the heart of our discussion. The key lies in your wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is not mere fantasy or daydreaming. It is God in action within you. It is the creative power through which all things are made. When you imagine, you are literally reshaping the substance of the universe. To receive repayment for what you thought was lost, You must use your imagination to occupy the state where you already have it. You must feel the reality of it, experience the joy of it, live from the assumption that it is already yours. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning yourself with the truth of your desire at the level of cause. For remember, your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner states. As you change within, your outer world has no choice but to conform. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I imagine having something when my current reality shows me its absence? This, my dear friends, is where faith comes in, but not blind faith. Faith based on understanding the law. You see, your physical reality is nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions. It is the harvest of seeds you have previously sown in your consciousness. To change your reality, to receive repayment for what you thought was lost, you must plant new seeds. You must assume a new state of being. When you imagine having what you desire, when you feel the reality of it, you are planting these new seeds. You are assuming the state of one who already has what they desire. And as you persist in this state, your outer world has no choice but to conform to this new inner conviction. This is the true meaning of the biblical phrase, ask and it shall be given you. It is not a plea to an external deity. It is a reminder of your own divine creative power. When you ask, you are declaring your desire as an accomplished fact to your own subconscious mind, which is one with the universal mind. Now let us address a common misconception. Many believe that to manifest their desires to receive repayment for what they thought was lost, they must visualize every detail of how it will come to pass. But I tell you now, this is not necessary and can even be counterproductive. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The infinite intelligence of the universe will take care of the how in ways far beyond what your limited conscious mind can conceive. Think of it like this. When you order something online, you don't concern yourself with the logistics of how it will be delivered. You simply place the order and trust that it will arrive. The same principle applies when you seek repayment from the universe. You place your order with the cosmic catalog, so to speak, and then you let go and trust in its delivery. This brings us to another crucial point, the importance of letting go. After you have assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, after you have planted the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, you must release it. You must fall asleep to the desire, confident in its fulfillment. This letting go is not indifference. It is supreme confidence. It is the knowing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, which is the very substance of reality. As you sleep in this assumption, your subconscious mind goes to work, aligning all the necessary forces to bring about the manifestation of your desire. Now let us explore the concept of revision in relation to receiving repayment for what you thought was lost. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desired reality. This is crucial because your subconscious mind draws upon your memories to create your current experience. When you revise your past, you are literally rewriting the script of your life. You are creating a past that naturally leads to your desired present and future. Instead of dwelling on loss, revise those experiences. See them as stepping stones, as necessary parts of your journey that led you to this moment of revelation and repayment. This practice of revision, combined with living in the state of your wish fulfilled, creates a powerful alignment in your consciousness. You are creating a new past, present, and future all at once, all aligned with the repayment you seek. Now, let us address the concept everyone is you pushed out. This principle states that everyone in your world is a reflection of your consciousness. The way people treat you, the opportunities that come your way, even the seemingly random events in your life, All are reflections of your state of being. When you shift your consciousness to a state of having received repayment for what you thought was lost, you naturally begin to see others differently. You see them as playing their perfect part in the divine unfolding of your desire. This shift in perception allows for miraculous changes in your relationships and circumstances. Let us now discuss the importance of gratitude in receiving repayment from the universe. Gratitude is not just a polite sentiment, it is a powerful creative force. When you are truly grateful, you are acknowledging the presence of your desire in your life. You are affirming its reality even before it manifests in the physical realm. As you seek repayment for what you thought was lost, cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. Be thankful not just for what you can see and touch, but for the unseen blessings that are even now unfolding in your life. Give thanks for the wisdom that guides you, the love that surrounds you, and the power that resides within you. This gratitude aligns you with the frequency of your desire, speeding up its manifestation. It puts you in a state of receptivity, opening you to receive even greater blessings. Now, let us address the concept of the Sabbath. The Sabbath, in this context, is not about a particular day of the week, but about a state of mind. It is a state of complete rest from all effort, a state of knowing that your work is done. When you seek repayment from the universe, when you have assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, enter this Sabbath state. Rest in the certainty that your desire is fulfilled. In this state, you no longer feel the need to make your desire happen because you know it is already done. Let us explore the concept of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean not caring about your desire. It means releasing your anxious attachment to how or when it will manifest. When you are anxiously attached to an outcome, you are actually affirming the absence of your desire. True detachment comes from the deep knowing that your desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore must manifest in your physical reality. It's a state of calm certainty, of knowing the law is at work, even when you can't see the evidence yet. Now let us discuss the power of your imagination once more. Your imagination is not mere fantasy or daydreaming. It is God in action within you. It is the creative power through which all things are made. When you seek repayment from the universe, use your imagination to its fullest potential. Imagine yourself having already received what you thought was lost. Feel the joy of it, the relief, the satisfaction. Live from that state, for in doing so you are literally reshaping the substance of your reality. Let us address the importance of self-love in this process. Many people struggle to receive repayment from the universe because they don't believe they are worthy of it. But I tell you now, worthiness has nothing to do with it. You are worthy because you exist. You are God's creation, and God only creates perfection. Cultivate self-love as you seek repayment from the universe. Know that you are deserving of all good things simply because you are. This self-love creates a powerful foundation for manifesting your desires. Now let us explore the concept of the law of reversed effort. This law states that the harder you try to achieve something, the more you push it away. This is why letting go and trusting is so powerful. It allows you to align with the natural flow of creation without the interference of struggle or forced effort. Think of it like this when you're learning to swim. If you thrash about frantically, you'll sink. But if you relax and trust the water to hold you up, you float effortlessly. The same principle applies to receiving repayment from the universe. Let us discuss the role of silence in this process. After you have done your imaginal work, after you have assumed the feeling of having received repayment for what you thought was lost, there comes time for silence. This silence is not just external, but internal. It is a cessation of all inner chatter about your desire. In this silence, you allow the seed of your desire to take root and grow. You do not dig it up repeatedly to check on its progress. You trust in the law, knowing that what is done in consciousness must manifest in reality. Now let us address the concept of living in the end once more. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are not hoping for something to happen in the future. You are experiencing your desire as a present fact. This state of living in the end collapses time and brings your desire into the present moment. Remember, in the realm of imagination, where all creation takes place, there is no time. Your desire is fulfilled the moment you assume the feeling of its fulfillment with conviction. The time it takes for this to appear in your physical reality is determined by your faith and your persistence in the assumed state. Let us explore the concept of the observer effect in quantum physics. In the quantum world, the act of observing something changes it. Your observation, your consciousness, affects the behavior of subatomic particles. This principle applies to your life as well. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are choosing to observe your reality from the perspective of already having received it. This observation literally shapes your reality at a quantum level, bringing your desire to manifestation. Now let us discuss the importance of feeling in this process. Feeling is the secret. It's not enough to intellectually know that repayment is possible, or even to visualize it clearly. You must feel the reality of it. When you seek repayment from the universe, allow yourself to fully feel the joy, the excitement, the gratitude of having received it. These elevated emotions are the fuel that gives life to your manifestations. They align you with the frequency of your desire, speeding up its realization in your physical reality. Let us address the concept of resistance once more. Resistance is anything that blocks the flow of your desired reality into your experience. It often shows up as doubt, fear, or worry. When you seek repayment from the universe, release this resistance. Remember, what you resist persists. By letting go of resistance, you allow the natural flow of creation to bring about your desire effortlessly. Now, let us expand the quantum you. The quantum you is the version of you that exists in the field of all possibilities. It's the you that has already received repayment for everything you thought was lost. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are aligning yourself with this quantum version of you. Understand that you're not trying to become something you're not. You're aligning with a version of you that already exists in the quantum field. You're shifting your consciousness to match that reality. Let us discuss the power of your words once more. Your words are not just sounds or symbols. They're creative forces. They're declarations to the universe. When you seek repayment for what you thought was lost, your words must align with this desire. Speak as though you have already received your repayment. Use phrases that affirm the reality of your desire. Remember, your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of the universe. Make sure you're planting seeds of what you want to grow in your life. Now let us address the importance of patience in this process. Patience in this context is not passive waiting. It is active trust in the law. It is knowing that what is done in consciousness must manifest in reality, and allowing that manifestation to unfold in its perfect timing. When you seek repayment from the universe, cultivate this kind of active patience. Know that your desire is manifesting even if you can't see the evidence yet. Trust in the perfect unfolding of the universe. Let us explore the concept of the present moment once more. The present moment is your point of power. It's the only place where you can make changes, where you can choose your thoughts and emotions. When you seek repayment from the universe, anchor yourself in this present moment. Many people live their lives either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. But when you do this, you're not using your power to create. You're letting your past or your imagined future control your present. Seeking repayment from the universe brings you into alignment with the power of now. Now, let us discuss the role of forgiveness in receiving repayment from the universe. Holding on to resentment, anger, or blame keeps you energetically tied to past experiences. It keeps you vibrating at a lower frequency, attracting more experiences that match that lower energy. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened or letting someone off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the energetic burden of negative emotions. It's about choosing to vibrate at a higher frequency. As you seek repayment from the universe, practice forgiveness of others and of yourself. Let us address the concept of divine order. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are aligning yourself with divine order. You are recognizing that there is a perfect unfolding of events, even if you can't see it from your limited perspective. Trust in this divine order. Know that everything is happening for your highest good, and even when it doesn't appear that way on the surface. This trust allows you to remain calm and centered, even in the face of apparent setbacks or challenges. Now, let us explore the concept of allowing. Allowing is the opposite of forcing. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are in a state of allowing. You are opening yourself up to receive all the good that the universe has for you. Allowing doesn't mean being passive. It means being receptive. It means being open to possibilities beyond what your limited mind can conceive. It means trusting that the universe knows the best path to the fulfillment of your desires. Let us discuss the importance of self-awareness in this process. To truly receive repayment from the universe, you must be aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. You must be able to catch yourself when you slip into doubt or anxiety and consciously choose to return to a state of trust and knowing. Cultivate this self-awareness through practices like meditation, journaling, or simply taking time for quiet reflection. The more aware you are of your inner state, the more effectively you can maintain a state of alignment with your desire. Now let us address the concept of surrender. Surrender is often misunderstood as giving up or admitting defeat. But in the context of receiving repayment from the universe, surrender is a powerful act of alignment. It is surrendering your limited, egoic control to the infinite wisdom of the universe within you. When you surrender in this way, you are not becoming powerless. On the contrary, you are aligning yourself with the most powerful creative force in existence. You are allowing this force to work through you unimpeded by doubt, fear, or limited thinking. Let us explore the concept of faith once more. Faith is not blind belief. It is not hoping for the best while fearing the worst. True faith is a knowing beyond physical evidence. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are exercising this kind of faith. You are knowing the reality of your desire with such conviction that you no longer need physical proof. This unwavering faith moves mountains. It parts seas. It transforms the very fabric of your reality. Now let us discuss the importance of your self-concept in this process. Your self-concept is the sum total of your beliefs about who you are. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are adopting a self-concept of someone who is worthy and capable of receiving all good things. See yourself as a divine being, capable of creating any reality you desire. Know that you are not separate from the universe, but an individualized expression of it. This elevated self-concept naturally aligns you with the fulfillment of your desires. Let us address the concept of resistance once more. Resistance often arises when we try to control every aspect of our reality. When you seek repayment from the universe, release this resistance. Allow the infinite intelligence of the universe to work out the details of how your desire will manifest. Remember, your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to hold the vision of your desire fulfilled and to maintain the feeling of its reality. The universe will take care of the how in ways far more wonderful than you could have imagined. Now, let us explore the concept of the law of attraction in relation to receiving repayment from the universe. The law of attraction states that like attracts like. When you align yourself with the energy of having already received repayment, you naturally raise your vibration. You align yourself with the frequency of desire. This elevated vibration attracts experiences, people, and circumstances that match it. You become a magnet for the fulfillment of your desires, effortlessly drawing to you what you need for their manifestation. Let us discuss the role of gratitude once more. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a state of being. When you seek repayment from the universe, you naturally enter a state of gratitude. You are grateful not just for what you have, but for what is coming. This state of gratitude is incredibly powerful. It aligns you with the abundance of the universe. It opens you to receive even more blessing. Practice gratitude not from a place of lack, hoping to receive, but from a place of fullness, knowing you already have. Now let us address the concept of divine timing once more. Often when we hold tightly to our desires, we create resistance to their natural unfolding. We try to force things to happen on our timeline. But the universe operates on its own divine timing, which is always perfect. When you seek repayment from the universe, align yourself with this divine timing. Release the need to control when or how your desire will manifest. Trust that it will come at the perfect time in the perfect way. Let us explore the concept of unity consciousness. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are recognizing your oneness with the universe. You are understanding that there is no separation between you and what you desire. It is already yours because you are one with all that is. This understanding of unity consciousness dissolves the illusion of lack. It aligns you with the infinite abundance of the universe. From this state of oneness, manifestation becomes effortless and natural. Now let us discuss the importance of detachment once more. Detachment is not indifference. It is not a lack of desire. Detachment is the state of knowing that your desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore you do not need to anxiously pursue it in the physical world. When you are detached in this way, you are free from the fear of not getting what you want. You are free from the anxiety of when or how it will come. This freedom allows you to enjoy the present moment fully, while still holding the vision of your desire fulfilled. Let us address the concept of allowing once more. Allowing is the opposite of forcing. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are in a state of allowing. You are opening yourself up to receive all the good that the universe has for you. Allowing doesn't mean being passive. It means being receptive. It means being open to possibilities beyond what your limited mind can conceive. It means trusting that the universe knows the best path to the fulfillment of your desires. Now let us explore the concept of the mirror principle. This principle states that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are creating an inner state of abundance, fulfillment, and gratitude. This inner state will inevitably be reflected in your outer experiences. Understand that as you change your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is not wishful thinking. It is the operation of universal law. Let us discuss the role of patience once more. Patience in this context is not passive waiting. It is active trust in the law. It is knowing that what is done in consciousness must manifest in reality, and allowing that manifestation to unfold in its perfect timing. When you seek repayment from the universe, cultivate this kind of active patience. Know that your desire is manifesting, even if you can't see the evidence yet. Trust in the perfect unfolding of the universe. Now let us address the importance of self-love in this process once more. Self-love is not vanity or egotism. It is a recognition of your true worth as a divine being. When you truly love yourself, You naturally align with the fulfillment of your desires. As you seek repayment from the universe, cultivate deep self-love. Know that you are worthy of all that you desire, simply because you exist. This self-love creates a powerful foundation for manifesting your desires. Let us explore the concept of the quantum field once more. In quantum physics, we understand that everything is energy and possibility. Your desires already exist as potentials in this quantum field. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are aligning yourself with the version of reality where your desire is fulfilled. Understand that you are not creating something from nothing. You are selecting a reality from infinite possibilities. Your job is to align your consciousness with the reality you desire to experience. Now let us discuss the power of your focus. Where you place your attention is where you direct your energy. When you seek repayment from the universe, you are focusing on the reality of your desire fulfilled. You are directing your energy towards its manifestation. Be mindful of where you're placing your focus. Are you focusing on what you lack, on what's wrong in your life? Or are you focusing on the reality of your desire fulfilled? Remember, what you focus on expands. In conclusion, remember that the universe is about to repay you for everything you thought was lost. This repayment is not something external to you, but a shift in your consciousness. As you align with the state of having received this repayment, as you live from this assumption, you will find your outer world reshaping itself to match your inner state. Trust in the law. Have faith in your own divine nature. And above all, persist in the state of knowing that your desires are already fulfilled. For in doing so, you are exercising your divine creative power and shaping your reality according to your will. Go forth and create consciously, for the power is within you. The entire universe is at your command. You need only to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and allow your good to flow to you. And so it is.